Good Monday morning. We are actually, this is different, right?
Yeah, totally.
So,
I feel
yeah.
like, you know, we're in San Diego, we did this.
Yes, we sat side by
We
side.
sat side by side when we were out, but it was like love. And you know what? It is the same kind of day as it was when we were in San Diego.
Exactly.
I am wearing a dress with sandals, you can't see it, but I was just outside at a ribbon cutting and it was so nice.
I know.
And I'm like, please stay this warm.
It's not. It's going to be super warm Sunday and then it's going to get back. But first of all, we are Marketing Mums. I'm Ann Brennan.
And I'm Anastassia Van Gresheby.
And we're here to make marketing simple for you. We usually talk when we start, we usually talk about Luna. But today we're going to share my glasses with you because you see my new glasses.
You got to see them before Luna gets them.
Exactly. Hopefully Luna will not get them. But watch this. They change. They change colors. So I've got more on the way. I even have sunglasses over here that you can see. And then they're stacked. Yeah. So if you're listening to this, you're missing out. I bought the new pair I wear and I love them. They are not a sponsor, but they should be.
I know, right? I feel like you should at least get another color.
I know, right? They should send me another color. But we are Marketing Moms and we are here to help you with your marketing. And I'm gonna tell you a secret. First of all, why is the new location? Why are we here or where we are right now?
Yeah, so we just moved our office. It's kind of not completely official yet, but it has to be by the end of next week because otherwise we're going to get in trouble.
Exactly.
So we have some things that we still need to move in, but for the most part, we are moved in, and we need to get our IT guys down here to figure out
because we were starting to do this and it messed up. We were like, so Anastassia's like, we'll just stop that one. I'll come in and we'll sit side by side. But I think this is a better way of doing it anyway. Yes, I like
like
this.
We're friends or something.
Exactly. I'm going to be, you know, me, if you've listened to the show, if you've watched this show, you know that I am straight up front with you all the time. So I was writing an article. We were going to talk about something else. I think it had to do with Facebook, but it doesn't matter. We were going to do something else. And I was writing an article and I said to Anastassia, I think this is the best article I've ever written because it's about the #1 rule of personal branding, which, let me go back down here. The #1 rule of personal branding is don't be a jerk. So I want to say you've gone to some of the talks I've given, and I say to people, raise your hand if you have a personal brand. And yeah, 2 people raise their hand, and we say, if you are a human being, you have a personal brand. And we used to say if you're on social media, but now it's not like that.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think it's anything. I mean, even with people that you know and your kids, things are either on brand or they're not, right? Like it's your brand is who you are.
Exactly.
And it's like what other people perceive you to be, who they perceive you to be. That's your brand.
Yes.
Right?
And actually, I was thinking about it. I was thinking, it's different when we talk to a company, we say your brand is your it's what people say about you. It's what they think about you. It's not your logo, right? And your logo is just part of your branding, but it's not your brand. And I was like, well, and people don't really have a logo. But then I thought about the guy in the yellow suit, right? Suit, yeah. Some people, Jay Bear, actually, if you know Jay Bear is a social media specialist, but he wears, every time you see him, he has on a plaid suit. He would not be Jay Bear without the plaid suit. But who he is underneath is what matters. And what I started thinking about is how we all have personal brands and how during COVID, so especially during COVID, those brands stood out. So I was thinking about the people on the airplane who decide to pitch a hissy fit and cause the plane to be turned around, right? Yeah. I was thinking about the people who want to go into the grocery store and there was a rule, right? The rule was you have to wear your mask, and they would pitch a hissy fit because they didn't want to wear their masks. And then there's the other ones who will scream. I had it happen. I think I told you this. The woman who screamed at the man I was at, this is one of those stories that I was like, oh, lady, please pay attention to your own personal brand. We were at the grocery store. There was an older man 6 feet in front of me, And then in front of him, about 3 feet in front of him, was another woman. And she turned around and screamed at him because he was 3 feet too close. But he said to her, turn around. And she thought he was saying turn around because it won't bug you. But what he meant was turn around because you've missed your turn to go up. You were supposed to go up. So you are 9 feet too far back now because you should have gone up. So these things happen where people have these personal brands. I mean, Bill Clinton had his personal brand moment that really showed through, I think, for everybody. So is that what you want your personal brand to be? Don't be a jerk. What I wanted to say, and I'm going to say it here because I didn't say it in the article, but don't be an ass.
Yeah.
Really, don't be an ass, because the more you are, the worse it is for you overall. So one of the things I was thinking is you said, well, some people, that is their brand.
Yeah, for some people, it is their brand to be a jerk. But is it all the way being a jerk? Because you can come across as sarcastic or abrupt or just a straight shooter. Like that is, but that's not necessarily being a jerk. You know, like there could be, I mean, you know how, like I think of this word jerk and I kind of think it's like a man term, but women can be jerks too. We just don't use that word, right? But I feel that, I was thinking about sometimes a woman who is assertive is considered to be aggressive.
Right.
A bitch.
A bitch.
Really.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, no, that's not being a jerk if they're, you've got to just be careful with that, right? So you can take it too far, but it's okay.
You have to be who you are.
You have to be who you are.
So if you're sarcastic by nature, I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm a very nice person, right? But I'm also not afraid of confrontation. Mm-hmm. And that part of that, though, goes to my authenticity. Yeah. And authenticity is one of my biggest core values. It matters, right?
Whereas I'm the opposite. I do not like confrontation.
Yes. So I do that for her. Yes. I take care of her. So why does it matter? Because you might be thinking, I don't care what people say. That's a lot of people say that to me. I don't care what people say. What matters for a lot of reasons, and we're going to go through all of them real quick for you. The number one reason that I wanted to say, especially about the jerk part, is your job depends on it. I, for the article, went back and I wanted to find an example of somebody who lost their job or didn't get into college or didn't get a job based off of their bad personal brand. And instead of finding a single instance, I found dozens that were all from within the last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So your job depends on it, your current and your future job, because the truth is we look, so if you're a boss, you look at somebody's social media just to get a feel for, are they a good person? And if you find out, and the truth is, you may not even look at their social media. You may just look them up online. I do. I look them up online for a few reasons. I want to know what their past has. I want to know what, things I know about them. Sometimes I find out awesome things. Almost always I find out awesome things, that they had a cool job before that they hadn't told me about, or that they won an award, or that they volunteer for something. So people are going to pay attention. Your job does depend on it. And we've had this Harvard let a whole bunch of kids a few years ago. They were all supposed to be in, but they were paying attention to them online and they didn't let them in.
It's a totally different world right now. Like when we were coming up, there was no internet, right?
Right, so, exactly.
And we all had like Hotmail or AOL accounts, which if you still have one of those, like,
seriously,
you got to upgrade. Every time I see one, I'm like, come on, Hotmail. Anyway, just giving you a grief there. So totally lost my train of thought. So we didn't have to worry about that. Right. We didn't have to worry about these things. And so these are the conversations that we have with our children, because we have kids that are, and you especially, like Blade's and Ethan's time, like that was scary because they're like the test subjects.
Yes, exactly.
Like they didn't know when everything started that their entire future could be determined
by stuff they didn't.
And you look at people now, you can't wipe things off the internet. They're always going to be there. Your worst moments are potentially out there, depending on who you are and if somebody's recorded it.
Here's the other thing. They're potentially out there, and it's not just what you post. We used to say it's what you post. And the truth is now it is people are just dying for you to screw up. They are. They're dying for you to screw up so that they can then post it on social media.
Yeah. I mean, I know something happened at my son's middle school, and there was a video of an incident, and I was just like, oh, I told my son, I'm like, make sure you don't distribute that.
It's horrible, yeah.
But I'm like, I wonder if that video got online. Now, had it been at the high school, it would have been a totally different story. It probably would have been live streamed.
Right.
Like somebody at the middle school, they don't even allowed to have their phones, and they're pretty good kids for the most part. Like, yeah, they might have them in their obviously somebody did, because there was a couple of videos of this incident. But so you just don't know who's going to be posting it. You don't know. And the personal brand, it's everybody has one.
Yeah.
Unless you are out in the middle of nowhere, then you're not watching this. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're not online, yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
the truth is it does.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You're going to go get gas somewhere. You're going to go to the grocery store. Somebody's going to deliver you a pizza. And if your personal brand is that you're a jerk, that pizza's getting spit on. I'm just saying. So, all right. Personal brands make you memorable. And I'm turning all red. I don't. It just, we'll just put it out there. I'm having hot flashes. It's very sad. So I'm having a hot flash as we speak, and you can see me turn all red if you're watching this on video.
People are going to go and watch the video now just for that.
Yes, you should go watch the video.
Especially with the red glasses. Maybe you should switch colors real quick. So it doesn't pick up.
Oh my gosh. But your personal brand makes you memorable. And I actually am going to use me as an example of this. Because we run Burgers and Bands for Suicide.
Is this about the meeting yesterday?
No, what did I do yesterday?
No, on Tuesday.
Oh, because that's a really great
yes.
example. Yeah, so it is similar.
Okay.
So we had a meeting with a client, and he said, he was telling us how he does these great videos that have to do with sports, and but they have nothing to do with his business. And he says, so I don't think that helps our business. And I said, how did you find me? Because I already knew how he found me. And he says, well, I found you at MoCo Connect. And I said, okay, that's awesome. So what was I talking about at MoCo Connect? And he says, oh, Burgers and Bands for Suicide Prevention. Nothing to do with my business, nothing to do with social media. But I was memorable for a positive reason, because I created a charity for suicide prevention. And it doesn't have to be just that. I thought about people in my life that I have watched things happen that I'm like, that's just a good person, right?
Yeah, or how they've handled something gracefully, or you've been in an instance where you're like, you know what? I mean, I know this has been, I don't know if I should bring this up, but the whole Chris Rock, Will Smith incident, right?
Yes.
How Chris Rock dealt with what happened, regardless of what side you were on, how he dealt with that. It's like, that's something that's memorable.
Yes.
Right? It's
actually
the grace that he dealt that.
But what you just said, it both ways.
Yes.
We should just do a meme about this. Because Chris Rock's personal brand in that instance was positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there are people who think that what Will Smith did is okay. I cannot imagine that is okay, but I'm just saying it. It was much more negative than positive.
Yes, and that is a great example of something that is going to be out there, and it goes against his brand, right? Because when you think of Will Smith, I think a lot of people were shocked because it isn't his brand. Like, he isn't some violent guy. I mean, I don't recollect any other time when something, not even, forget about the hitting, like even the yelling, like I don't remember him seeing him anything like that. So what he did was so off brand that is especially going to stick around, and people are going to look at it now. You're going to remember it. So I mean, that's an extreme, example.
But it took 1 second.
Yeah.
Right? It took that long, and he made the mistake, right? It's just so important that you think about your personal brand. It does make you memorable in a good way, and it can make you memorable in a bad way. Personal branding opens opportunities. And I was thinking about, I don't know, I talk to Zane about this a lot. So I have a son who's a musician. I talk to him a lot about what he's like when he's on stage with people, right? What is he like when he's on stage with people? Oh my gosh. Are we going live? It says live.
I think it always says.
Okay. It's all right, guys. So we're just going to write.
That's
roll
what
right
happened.
through that.
I think we were in San Diego. I said that. And you're like, oh, it's fine. I was like, okay.
All right. So so I always tell him how you act on stage, how you act with the other musicians matter. And so I give him this example a lot of how it opens doors for you. Kim Basinger. Anybody remember Kim Basinger? Yeah. She was really hot for a little while there. And she did what, 3 movies? And then she pitched an absolute hissy fit on this one set, and over again it was in the papers.
Oh.
And immediately people stopped working with her. On the other hand, you have people like Chris Cooper, who I said his name, you have no idea who he is. You're going to go look it up. I know you are, because you're like, wait a minute, who the heck is Chris Cooper? And then you're going to see him and go, oh, that guy. He's in every movie.
Oh.
Why? Because people like working with him, right? So there are people who don't have to have a resume, that don't have to have a resume, because there are people waiting in line to hire them if they ever leave their job. Opportunities open up for people who have a good personal brand.
Oh, I agree with that. Dr.
Okiki, oh my God, she's a great example of it. She's got a great personal brand. She just got an award in Dubai as for business, a businesswoman's award in Dubai, because she has a strong personal brand. So it matters. All right. You can talk to this one.
Yeah, personal brands help people trust you. That's definitely true, because, well, I say it's definitely true. It's definitely true if you're trustworthy.
Right.
Like if your personal brand is something that you feel that you can trust, then people will come and they will either open up to you or they bring you business. I feel like we're an example of that. People know us, they see us networking, and it is amazing how people will open up to us.
Absolutely.
And it's because they trust us. They trust that we have the best intentions. We have the best, their best interests. That's what I was trying to think. Their best interests at heart. And I think that, that helps. But it's not just, us. Like, there's so many examples of this, where people, you get to know somebody and you're like, you know what, I'm going to call them. And it might not be, again, based on what you know of them from business. It's from their personal brand.
So that you trust them.
It's that you trust them. You're like, oh, you know what? I've had so many interactions with you. And I think that, our BNI groups, our networking groups, where we're meeting people and we're building those relationships, because they get to know you. They get to know your personal brand. A great example here is last week in my BNI group, one of the guys went through and gave these superlative awards to everybody.
Yes.
And he knew, like, the amount of time that he had spent, like, looking up pictures and just he knew everybody. And right. I was just so impressed by what he did. Shout out to Andy Bird at Victory Awards and Promotions at Sperner Park. But he did a beautiful job, and he really it was obvious that the time that he had spent networking, he had built that trust with people.
Exactly. And I want to say that trust, it matters. And so I want to go back to something you said earlier, which is some people, their personality may be perceived as harsh, right? That doesn't necessarily make them a jerk, but they may be sarcastic. They may be harsh. They may be aggressive or assertive, right? They may be all those things. And that's okay. If you try to fake it, you will lose trust.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
You will lose trust, because if you go out, like if I tried to go out and put on my, the sweet whatever and not say the things that I say, people would know it's not me, because I say everything that comes through my brain. Sometimes I need to slow it down a little bit, but I do. And if I tried something different, people would go, that's not her.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that there are people that are sarcastic and, to the point, straight shooting people, but they are also the most kind-hearted people. I have a good friend of mine that there are people that have been like, oh, you know, is she that nice? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I will call her if she'd be my first call, because I know that she is the most, and I say this, she could be the first call for anybody. She will help whomever, but she comes across a little harsh sometimes, but it's but yeah, that's her brand,
so
though.
don't change your personality because people won't trust that.
Yes,
they will not trust it. You can how many times have you seen somebody and you're like, oh my God, they're so fake?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You know it.
And you
know
tell
when somebody's fake.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so why is all this important? You know, I think that, you know, this is a business podcast. We always tell you you don't have a personal life. If you are a business owner, and you know what, regardless of where you're working,
right,
you don't have a personal life unless you're not on social media at all. Or
and actually no, not even
like you said,
right?
you know,
like
people
are
are
walking
posting.
on the street. Yeah,
exactly. You know, so you don't have a personal life anymore. Everything's out there. Everything's there for people to find. So yeah, it's important, especially as a business owner. You cannot afford to be a jerk ever. You just can't.
And I have to tell you, I my children live with me, so I get to give them my personal branding advice all the time. But I think it would be wise of parents to help their children figure out how to create their personal brand and post and do, and not just post, but I was just at one of the examples I used is the volunteer. Actually, I'm just going to use another example right here. We had two different experiences. One was at Whole Foods and one was at Harris Teeter. Doesn't matter because I actually really like Whole Foods a lot and I'm not a big fan of Harris Teeter, but the Whole Foods guy, we're checking out, and as we're checking out, we're trying to have a conversation with them. We say, hello, it's beautiful outside, blah, blah. Nothing, not a single word. Not a single word. I was in the line with my son. Went through a few days later through Harris Teeter with my son again, and the person was very nice. He asked us if we found everything all right. He did all, and immediately Zane said, "Oh, he's really good. He's really good." And it says exactly that. Maybe I was hiring. Maybe I'm ready to hire and I could hire that kid. Mm-hmm. So it matters no matter what the age, but also I'm going to kind of give us a plug here and say this. Why did this whole subject come up? It came up because I was thinking about Reels and I was thinking about TikTok. And I was thinking that Reels and TikTok are where small business owners need to be. And small business owners are busy, but they're also not that keen on being on social media, right? On being in front of the camera. Day. And it's important that they start to do that. So if you are a small business owner and you are watching this, we always give you a thing to do. So our call to action today, our thing that you should do today, go create a 10-second reel with one piece of advice. So easy. It's not that long. Go create one reel, 10 seconds, and put it up. Make sure it goes up today. You are going to see, we were just saying this morning, I put one up at 9 by 10. I had 1,100 views. Reels are very powerful and they're very, very powerful for your business. If you need to know how to do them, we can help. That's what we do. I have been writing this article. This article will go up on the blog in a few weeks, probably not right away. You guys got it first, but it will go up on the blog. And you can go over to the blog at asmmdigital.com/blog. You'll see everything we put up there. We put up something every week, at least once a week. There's something new up there. There's so much to be learned there. So go over, check it out. Do you have anything to add?
I see the burgers and bands. I think that's important. We are just like 3 weeks away.
3 weeks away.
3 weeks away from Burgers and Bands in Savannah Park, May 15th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you are local, if you're in Maryland, you should just come regardless of where you are.
Right. Yes.
You know, like it's super fun. Kelly Bell is coming and they are incredible. But you know what? It's funny because we get people asking us all the time if they can play, which is hilarious to me because they ask like a couple of weeks before the event.
And we've been planning it forever.
So I'm like, this has been booked like for a long time. But because so many people care about this, and so many people, we have such great volunteers and such great support from the community. We get great bands.
We have
can
great
be very
bands.
picky.
Yeah, we have Honey Soul, we have Scribe, we have the Dad Band Revival.
Oh yeah.
We have Judas Priest, not Judas Priest.
George Evans.
George Evans. We have some really, really great bands.
There's
So,
a high school kid, Tyler Zachary. I love him.
I
I
love
love
him.
him.
I don't think he's opening this year. I think
Oh,
he's
he's not?
playing later. He's playing, but he's playing later.
Yeah, he's great.
So do turn up, and if you're interested in sponsoring, there's still time to do that. Message us. We'll get you in there. We hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.